guys, welcome back to my channel and another Topic Tuesday here. Today's topic is, what are your least favorite nail arts? Now, I don't usually do this, but I just want to preface this with a really quick disclaimer so that I don't hurt anybody's feelings. When I go in on these, this is all in good fun. When I say these are my least favorite nail arts, this doesn't mean that I even actively dislike them. In fact, as per usual, I have multiple categories here. I have 3 different categories of nail arts that I don't like for different reasons. The first category is going to be nail art that I don't like the look of, so yeah, those ones I might be a little bit mean about. But I also have nail arts that I don't like because they are time consuming. And then I have nail arts I don't like because I just suck at them. So this isn't a attack post or attack video on anybody who likes these specific nail arts. Don't think that I'm like, oh, anybody who likes these is sucky and stuff like that. No, I think that this is a very subjective topic and I just like to rag on things a little bit. I like to complain. It's my favorite sport. So, nobody walk away with hurt feelings. We're all just having a little bit of fun here. And honestly, there's no nail art really that I absolutely hate. I can find redeeming qualities in just about anything. For me, especially with nail art or just with projects in general, I often have a image in my head of how I want something to look. And a lot of times in practice, it doesn't look like that. And it can be a little bit frustrating. So that's kind of where a lot of these are coming from. And I even have a couple examples within some of these categories of the nail arts that I don't like, of nail art that I have done in that category, just so I can show you either why I didn't care for it or ways I kind of worked around my dislike of the nail art. So I have a few nail art photos for you guys as well. So let me scoot over here and make room for the photos, and let's get into the first category, which is nail arts that I just flat out do not like the look of. So the first nail art that I just really hate the look of is French tips. And I think a big reason for that is when I was younger and girls were going to the salons with their moms, everybody was getting these chunky, super chunky French tips. And how you have the smile line and below that is kind of supposed to be a more natural looking color, a lot of girls would get kind of a bubblegum pink, and then the white of the smile line would come way too far down the nail to look like a natural free edge, which is what a French tip is supposed to kind of imitate. It's like a clean, natural nail, but just a little bit more exaggerated, and these were just too exaggerated. And I really disliked the look from a young age. And the other day, I was watching The Sopranos with my boyfriend, and Carmela, one of the lead characters, she's always got her nails in French tips. In fact, a lot of the women on the show do. And I was just like, ugh, I hate those. They're so ugly. And my boyfriend went hard on the defense in defense of French tips and was like, why? They look fine. They're great. I think that more women should get them. And I was like, why are you, of all people, coming to protect French tips from me? What the heck? And like I said, I get what the look is going for. I just don't like the classic style French tip. However, I do like a fun, fresh spin on a French tip. And in fact, my favorite version, or pretty much the only version that I really do like of a French tip, is when people do a gradient French tip. And if I can find a picture, I'll pop it up here. But it's almost like they sponged on the smile line between the pink and the white. And it looks just a lot softer and a lot more wearable to me. I just feel like French tips, as they are in the classic form, just look really, really harsh and really, really bold in a way that I just don't enjoy. I've done a couple French tip nail arts myself. The first one I did the classic style French tip, and then I stamped a lacy pattern over the top of it so that it bled into the French tip. And while it didn't look as cool as I thought it was going to be in my head, I did like the idea, and I'm kind of toying with going back and trying something like that again. And I also did a black on black French tip where I did the whole nail a matte black, and then I used, because they make these nail vinyl stickers that make a perfect smile line on your nail, and I put those on all the nails, and I only glossy top coated the tip, so it was a matte base with a glossy tip. And I thought that those were going to look way cooler than they did, but because of the black on black element, it was almost too subtle. And so the execution didn't go exactly as planned, but it was still really cool. And there was a trend a couple years ago that I really did like, and it was nude base on your fingers with a neon French tip. And I thought that was really cool. I guess it's just the white. I think the white is what kills me every time because, again, I just think of teeth. The other nail art that I don't like the look of is wordy word art. And what I mean by that is just like an excessive amount of words on the nail. And this actually extends to like home decor as well. And I want to be really careful about the way that I talk about this one because I know that this is a very popular decorating style, especially around where I live and like people who live on lakes and stuff like that. It's a lot of like live, laugh, love, like our family does this kind of like wall art, and I've seen a lot of that on nails and stamping plates and like water slide decals as well. So this is just a huge matter of personal taste, but it's just not my jam. You know, my mom, she loves the super wordy signs. And I went shopping with her the other day and we went to like Home Goods and she was like pulling out this huge one and it's just got like a paragraph on there. I said, Mom, no one is coming to your house trying to read a novel, okay? Like, put that back. I just feel like compelled to read every sign in someone's house, and I'm just like, please, I don't want to do this. And I feel like that happens a lot with stamping plates as well. I think like a few words here and there are fine, or even just a short phrase on maybe like one nail or something like that. But at some point it gets to be too much, especially because like nobody wants to read off these nubs. Like it's somebody's like, oh, let me see your nails, and then you have to sit there and hold your nails out to them while they read the novel on your nails, and you're like, okay, any day now, you know what I mean? I think another reason why I don't like this style is just because I feel like I don't execute it very well. And like the one time I've tried it, I did a recent stamping manicure for Valentine's Day. And I did use a couple plates that had, or I used a plate that had a couple word designs, and I used those on my nails just to try it out because I was like, well, I've never used this before. Maybe I'll like it if I try it. And I just feel like I can't frame stuff very well. And I did get a lot of compliments on this look for Valentine's Day, but I still just kind of, every time I looked at it, I was like, it's just not for me, you know? The next category is nail art I hate because it is too time consuming. And first on the list is water marbling or hydro dipping. And this is actually a nail art I've never tried because I know how time consuming it's gonna be. Like, it looks so cool when people do it, but it's like, okay, you have to paint the base of your nails, right? So usually a white. You gotta let that dry, then you gotta go to the kitchen and get a glass of water, and then you come back and you pick out all your colors, and I'm not good at like putting colors together that are gonna go together well. And then you gotta drip all those into the cup of water, like one drop at a time. Then you gotta get your stick and you gotta make a design, and there's like a few different ways people make designs. And I can already see that that is right the second where I'm gonna mess this up. Or at some point I'm gonna drink the nail polish water. I can already tell. I've almost drank acetone like 3 times. So I can already tell that's gonna go badly. And then once you get your design all made in the water, you have to oh so carefully dip your finger into that kind of decal that you've made sitting on top of the water. And some people I've seen, they'll do like 2 or 3 fingers at a time and they just go for it and they get it all done at once. No, I can already tell. I would have to do them one at a time, which means I'm gonna have to do this 10 separate times if I don't mess up one of them. And then you have to clean up all the skin around your nail. And a lot of people, they go in, they put like the liquid latex around their cuticles. I have a latex allergy, so I can't use that. So I could use those weird little like apron-y sticker things, but then I also have an allergic reaction to those sometimes. So I think the ones that I bought, not latex free, and even though they said that they were. And I do have the Maniology like latex free barrier, but that one, I always end up sticking my fingers together when I wear it, so that's a huge pain. You peel all that off, you get that all off, and then you clean up around your nail and you top coat it and you're done. And it sounds like a lot of work for a nail look that I'm going to wear for 3 days maximum. So But with all that said, I feel like I do want to try it at least once. So I might do a little video of me trying to water marble with you guys, and we'll see how that goes. And then the other nail art that I feel just takes way too much time, and that's why it's on this list, is decals. And I'm not talking about like water slide decals. Those are simple. You cut them out, throw them in the water, slap them on the nail, and you're done. I'm talking about making your own decals using stamping. This is one I actually enjoy doing when I have time, but when I don't have time, it just is kind of a stressful, like long drawn out process for me. Because what you have to do is you have to have a nail mat or like a plastic bag or something like that, and you paint on clear polish or top coat, let that dry, stamp a design onto that clear polish, let that dry, paint in your design with like little paintbrushes and some nail polish, let that dry, and that's the one that takes the longest to dry. And then you have to peel up your design, cut it out to fit your nail shape, and then usually you'd paint like a base on your nails, like so that the colors really pop. I like to do white so that the colors just kind of like stand out against that white base. And then you put kind of a sticky layer on your nail. I just use the Orly Bonder base, let that dry down until it's a little bit tacky, set the decal onto your nail and press it flat, and then you have to remove any excess decal and then top coat it, and you're done. But there's like a lot of dry time and waiting in between steps. And the other thing too is I often mess up when I'm pulling the decal up from the mat. So I usually tend to make 2 or 3 decals just so that if I do mess one up, I have a backup. And then even still, I always smudge the decal somehow when I lay it down on the nail. It's like when it touches that tacky base and it gets a little wet, it can easily tear, and that's what I end up doing. I always end up tearing it a little bit, smudging it a little bit. Even if I wait several hours until it's fully dry, I just mess it up every single time. My first attempt I did this, it was actually the first post on my nail Instagram ever, and it was a little green and white painted in alien with just some kind of like chalkboard looking aliens on the other nails. And you can see there's a big old smudge in the middle. I messed it up. I was so frustrated, but I was like, you know what? Next time I'm gonna get it. And then the next time I did some dinosaurs, and you know what I did? The exact same thing. I smudged that one again, and people were like, oh, it looks so cool. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's a giant smudge. It looks terrible. And then I decided to try something a little bit smaller. So I did this little like paper crane design where I just put a bunch of little tiny cranes, and those little decals are a lot easier to work with than one that fits over your whole nail. And so I think that's just part of my problem, is it's just too big for me to work with easily. But it's really frustrating when you've put a lot of time into something and then the final step is where you mess up. So I don't know, I like doing these. It's just that if you don't lay it down right, then you're gonna have a bad time. Okay, and the last category is nail art that I suck at, and that's why I hate it. And the first one is, of course, freehanding. I think I just need to get a set of acrylic paints and try freehanding that way, because freehanding with nail polish is really, really hard because it gets sticky and it gets tacky really fast, and it's really hard to manipulate and work with. And if you mess up, it's pretty hard to remove it or paint over it. I've done exactly one freehand that turned out the way I actually wanted it to, or in a way that I liked. And it's this really super simple, impossible to mess up blood drops that I did for Halloween a couple years back. After that, it was all downhill. I did this cherry nail art. I actually did this on my channel, and I just feel like the cherries turned out way too big. They're like kind of like apples, not cherries. And so I was a little bit disappointed in that, although I liked the idea behind it. I did a Star Trek one with Bookish Boricua on Instagram, and I just feel like I got like one of the insignias right, and then the rest, the proportions just went out of control. And so I was a little bit frustrated about that, but my dad thought they were cool, so I guess that's all that matters. And then one time, I did these jack-o'-lanterns, and I don't know what happened. It looks like a child carved them. They look so bad, and I was like, oh, okay, well, Maybe next time. I have yet to revisit this, but you know what? I got a stamping plate that has jack-o'-lantern faces on it, so I'll probably just never hand paint them ever again. I think I need a thinner brush too, because I just think that my thinnest brush is still too thick. Actually, there is another one that I kind of liked, and even though it looks super childish, because I made the eyes too big, and this is my Marshmallow Ghosties nail art, and I threw some glow in the dark over it so that when you turn the lights off, you can still see the ghosts in the dark. I thought that was a really cute one, and I liked that everybody was doing kind of like a community-wide thing, and I thought that was really cute. I hope that everybody does it again next Halloween, so that one I did actually enjoy. And me like ragging on these, it's not me saying, oh, like, please tell me I did good, or like give me compliments so that like lift it up. No, I know they're bad. That's okay. It's okay to admit that you're bad at something, because I know that the reality is I haven't put the time in, I haven't put the effort in to become better at this freehand style nail art. And until I do that, you know what? I'm just gonna suck at it. And maybe I'll put in a lot of time and effort and I'll still suck at it. And that's okay. I'm allowed to suck at stuff. My name is Mediocre Manny's for a reason. But yeah, freehand is hard. I think that, like, I have a lot of respect for people who do like big freehand sets. Like, I follow somebody on Instagram called Miller's Manicures, and she's always posting like really cool characters that she freehands on like fake nails, and I'm just like, girl, how do you do that? That's insane. And the last nail art is so stupid that I almost don't want to put it on here, but it is like any kind of nail art that incorporates dry brushing, because I am just bad at it. And you'd think that it would be impossible to be bad at dry brushing, but I just am. Like, I date a lot of nerds. So a lot of the guys that I've dated in the past played a game called Warhammer 40K, which uses a lot of like little models that you would see in like Dungeons and Dragons types games. They're like tabletop games. And they're these little plastic models that you can paint and customize however you want. And I used to help them paint the models. But a lot of people employ a technique called dry brushing in order to add a little bit of depth and texture to their models. And I could not do that. It was always either I would brush way too much paint off of the brush and then nothing was dry brushing on, or I would try to counteract that and add a little bit more paint to the brush, and then I've just completely saturated the whole model with whatever color I was using. So I have just stayed away from anything to do with dry brushing because I just can't do it. I've seen people like do some really cool stuff where they dry brush a bunch of colors on the nails as a background for stamping or something like that. And I'm always like, oh, I should do that. And then I sit down and I go, you know what? No, I shouldn't. So I don't know. You would think that that would be a really easy one to master, but for some reason I cannot do it. I am just so heavy-handed. So yeah, those are my 6 least favorite nail arts. There's really not even that many nail arts out there, so I've pretty much managed to say that I hate almost all of them. And hate is the wrong word. It's just like, if I had to rank them, these would be on the bottom, because for me, they are just either the hardest ones for me or the 2 at the beginning. I just don't care for them. But even then, there's like versions of them that I do enjoy. I think that my absolute favorite nail art has to be stamping, because it's just, there's a lot of customizable ways to do it. Everybody kind of does it differently, and the designs are already there for you. It's so easy. And you know what? I think a lot of people would say differently in the comments and tell me that I'm crazy, because I know a lot of people are really intimidated by stamping, and it is pretty messy, but it's not that hard once you get the hang of it, I swear. But yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Let me know down in the comments what your least favorite nail arts are, whether it's doing them, whether it's the look of them. I would love to know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.